new faces, old faces. Yeah, we have a fantastic lineup today, and people are still coming. I just would like to start with little reminders how our session works. We usually put the feedback into the chat, and we like clapping silently, like, we give a silent round of applause usually, like this or like that, with body language. And yeah, it will be lovely if you can keep your video on, but if you can, if not, that's also fine. And the stories will last. We want them not going over 10 minutes. So when it's 9 minutes, I will be trying to make these kind of gestures so you will understand that it's the time to wrap up. Yeah, I think these are the little reminders for us. Are there any others? Niharika, that's great. Now, I would like to invite Renu for the first story. Are you ready, Renu?
Yes,
Great.
Sana.
And then a round of silent applause for Renu.
Thank you everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you all are. Okay, so I'm going to just straight away jump into my story. It was the 20th of April 2008, 5:30 a.m. in the morning. I was all set to go out on my morning walk. My family was very against me going at this time in the morning. My husband would always say, "Why don't you go a little later? 6 o'clock, 6:30 is better. It's so much brighter and more people will be on the streets." But that's exactly what I didn't want. I liked the peace, the solidarity of walking on my own on those streets which were still a little dark. The only companions on the streets would be the stray newspaper delivery boy or milk delivery boy, and of course lots of dogs. And so that morning I set off at a brisk pace, my thoughts completely here, there, and everywhere. I kept walking and walking, enjoying this fresh air in the morning, enjoying my me time. I had a particular route that I followed, and where I went towards the end of my walk was this broad street lined on both sides with tall trees. I loved this particular road because it was always so lonely, not a single soul in sight. And as I walked down this road, I enjoyed the silence, the beauty of the trees, and the chirping of the birds. This road went on and on and on till the end, where it would sort of suddenly curve towards the right and move on. But I never went up till there. I would walk up till almost that road and then walk back, and at least 3-4 times up and down, and then I would finally go back home. That morning, as I reached that road and I started walking, I heard a car coming up from behind me. I didn't pay it much attention because sometimes the stray car or cycle would go past. But as I continued to walk, this car I felt was slowing down and keeping pace with me. And soon I saw from the corner of my eye this guy was abreast of me. So I turned to look. This guy had the glass of his window down. He was the only one in the car. And thinking that perhaps this guy was lost and looking for directions, I looked at him. And he said, "Would you like to have sex with me?" Now, I was completely shocked. Here I was, lost in my thoughts, and suddenly all of a out of the blue, this question. No answers would come to me, and I said, "No, thanks." And I continued to walk. Now, this guy didn't go away as I thought he would. He continued to follow me. And as I took a turn and came back like this, he followed me back too. So I turned around, I memorized the number plate, and then I said, "I'll get you for this, you bastard." I normally don't use language like this, but that day I was furious. Somebody was infringing into my private space, into my morning walk. And I continued to walk. Now this guy continued to follow me. I took around again. I came back towards the end of the road where it would turn to the right. And this guy came racing past and gave me one slap on my thigh and raced off took the right, and disappeared from view. That slap stung me, and I had no idea what to do. My blood was boiling. I screamed, but it was of no use. There was not a single soul on that road. The house keys had flown out of my hand. It took me a while just to look for them and pick them up. I had no phone. I was not carrying my phone. Really, really furious. I cut short my walk and just went back home. It was around 6:15 in the morning. I had no time to think. I had to get my girls ready for school. I gave them their breakfast. I got them ready, dropped them off to school, and came back home around 8. I immediately called up my neighbor. He happened to be the superintendent of police at that time. I told him, "Can you please trace this number for me?" I knew my voice was agitated, and he at once asked, "What's the matter? Did something happen?" And I told him, "Yes, this person has misbehaved with me, and I want to trace this number." He said, "Of course I'll do it. I'll get back to you by this evening." I kept pacing up and down the house. The slap, that stinging, was still hurting my thigh. A few minutes later, my husband called. He was away, sailing somewhere in New Zealand. He happened to be in the merchant navy. He knew from my voice that something had happened. "Renu, what's the matter?" he asked. So I told him what had happened. He said, "What? Okay, listen, don't do anything now. I'll be back home in 4 days' time. We'll take this up together." I said, "Okay." That evening, the cop called back. He gave me the address. He said it's somewhere in the business district. So I guess I'll leave it to you to call up and find out. I didn't bother to call. After all, my husband said we'll handle it together. My husband came back and then he tried to persuade me. He said, "Listen, Renu, just forget about this, okay? It's happened, it's an accident. You know what happens when you have an accident? You get hurt and then you forget about it." I said, "No, this wasn't an accident. It was intentional and I'm going to take this up. I need closure." But my husband wouldn't listen. He doesn't like confrontations. So he tried his best to persuade me. Every time I tried telling him, "Listen, I need to get this off my chest," he would say no. Finally, I told him, "At least call that number." So he called that number and we discovered that this man was a middle-aged man. And when my husband told him what had happened, he said, "Yes, my son sometimes drives my car and he's extremely short-tempered." I said, "I don't care what he is like. I need to go and see this boy and I need to get this off my memory." My husband refused to listen. He kept saying, "No, listen, you're all alone here. You know what happens to women when they stand up for themselves. You know, when they go and fight with a man, they come and throw acid. You're here alone with the two girls. He might take revenge on you." Of course, it did cause a few misgivings inside me, but I didn't want to let this go. I was not just fighting for myself. I was fighting for all the girls and women. He might be doing the same thing again. Well, like this, 2 months went by. Finally, one Sunday, I got tired. I said, "Listen, I don't care what's happening. I'm going today." My husband said, "But listen, I spoke to that man yesterday. He said he's not in town." I said, "I don't care. Anyway, I don't want to see him. I want to see his son. I'm going, whether you want to come or not." Now, inside, I was really nervous and, really scared. I didn't want to go by myself. It was away, far away, towards the other end of the city. And those days, there was no Uber, no Ola, no smartphones, no Google Maps. How was I supposed to find that place? Luckily, my husband said, "I'll come with you." So he was not at all happy about it. So we got into the car and started. Both of us lost in thought. I was thinking to myself, will I even recognize this boy? 2 months have gone by. What am I going to say when I go there? We reached. It was an apartment building. Their apartment happened to be on the 3rd floor. I didn't want to go by lift. I wanted more time. So slowly I went up the stairs and rang the bell. After a few seconds, the door opened. And there was this young boy, a teenager, both his ears wrapped in bandages. My first thought was concern. I said, "What happened? Were you in an accident?" He looked at me and said, "My ears were too big. I got them cropped." I thought, my God, this family is really weird. I looked inside, and this was a kind of a hall where you had the sitting room in one side and the other side towards the other end was the dining area. And this lady was sitting at the dining table. So I looked at her and I said, "Is this Mr. Rajagopalan's house?" She said, "Yes, but he's not in town." I said, "I haven't come to see him. I've come to see your older son. Do you have somebody older?" She said, Yes, he's inside. I'll call him." Arun, she called. And this boy comes out. And I recognized him. He was on a wheelchair. His right leg was bandaged. And I thought to myself, karma. He came out and I looked at him and I said, "Do you recognize me?" He nodded and then put his head down. I said, turned to his mother and I said, "Do you know what this boy said to me?" And I told her. And she was absolutely furious. She said, "What? Take him with you, take him to the police, have him beaten up, I don't care." Well, obviously he's been doing things like this from before. So I looked at him and I said, "You're just 20 years old. You have a long, long way to go ahead. This kind of behavior is not going to make life easy for you. You're going to ruin things for yourself and for your family. Do you want to bring shame to your mother? I think we are both the same age. So you thought you could do this to me and just get away with it? Didn't you realize that I can memorize your car number and then trace you? You know what the cop said to me when I called him? He said he'll have you beaten up. He said he'll have you thrown out of college. But I didn't want any of that. How will you know it's coming from me? I wanted to come and meet you myself. At first, I wanted to slap you to make you understand how it felt for me that day. But I no longer want to do that. I just want you to change your ways. And I don't ever, ever want to see you in my area again." Then he came towards me and tried to touch my feet. "Stay away from me," I said. "I don't want you anywhere near me. And behave yourself." I turned around and I left. Later on in the car, my husband looked at me and said, "You handled that really well." "What did you expect?" I asked. And as we went back home, I was at last at peace with myself. I had got the closure I had wanted. And I was happy. Thank you for listening.
Oh, thank you, Renu. Thank you for this challenging experience that you shared, and such a great gift that you have given to that boy. And also, I mean, as a woman, it's so heartwarming that you stood up for yourself and also for other women, because unfortunately these kind of instances happen a lot, and
Yes.
mostly, yeah, they just get away, and they don't
Yes,
get
in
their
India.
lesson.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah,
Lots of incidents in India, especially when men, pursue women and then throw acid on them if they say no. And lots of things like this keep happening. So I felt that every time somebody misbehaves, you need to take it back. I wanted to inspire others, especially my daughters. So I think this is very important that I keep sharing this story. Thank you, Sanam, and thank you everyone for listening.
thank you very much. Yes, a great applause for Renu. And now I am not aware if Santosh is coming or not. Niharika, you were communicating, and okay.
No response, so let's go to the next one.
Okay, let's go to the next story. And then we have Rachel. Are you ready, Rachel? You weren't expecting this.
No, not really. Hold on just a second. The host
Okay,
is not
if you are not ready, it's all right, because
No,
we
it's
don't have
okay. It's okay. I was reading technology on my screen. That's my technology reading face. Okay.
That's great. Okay, Rachel, here you are. The floor is yours.
So I've never been very good at endings. I slip away quietly without the ritual of farewells. It's not courage, it's avoidance. I pivot well. I improvise. I survive sudden turns, but stopping always feels like failure. In 1997, I was in my 20s and I was living in Vancouver, Canada. I was self-employed, kind of accidentally. I started working as a housekeeper for several families in my neighborhood, and word spread. And soon I was working full-time, and more of my clients were elderly people who lived in their own homes and just needed a little bit of help. Now, I became an odd jobs kind of person. I would do laundry and hang curtains. I'd dig flower beds. I'd clean basements. Whatever needed done. If it was in my power, I would do it. It felt good to work with elderly people. I was young and they were full of praise for my willingness to pitch in. They needed someone like me. I felt like my youth and energy were the scaffolding holding together their fragile lives. My problem was saying no. I just couldn't do it. I would find myself doing all sorts of tasks that I really had no business doing. It only took one look from a sweet old lady or a kind old gentleman, and my resolve would melt and I would cave in. I felt like I loved working for them, but I hadn't yet learned about boundaries. I worked for a couple, Bernice and Dave Brown. Bernice was only 90, dear, and I was there to help her do the housework after she fell and broke her arm while she was cleaning up the curtains. Dave was having problems with his memory. He struggled to recall who people were and why he was living in the apartment that he was living in and not the house that he remembered. He was a gentle soul, though, and he told endless stories about his family moving to Vancouver in 1915 when he was in his early teens and growing up in the city as the city grew around him. It was just a place of dirt streets and trams when he moved. It was fascinating to listen to him, even though he had no idea who I was and thought that I was a boy because I had short hair. Bernice would often use the time that I was in the house to run errands outside. Dave needed constant supervision as he had a habit of wandering off and getting lost if he wasn't watched. So one day, shortly after I arrived, Bernice went out and Dave started rummaging in his bathroom cabinet, and he comes out with a straight razor, a round shaving brush, and a towel, and he hands them all to me. "Today, young man," he says, "I think you should give me a shave." I looked at the device in horror and at the wrinkled, papery neck with the hair on it, and I shuddered. In a panic, I locked myself in the bathroom and looked for a solution, finding a nice electric razor. I set Dave up with warm towels like I'd seen in the movies and set him back on his chair, and I proceeded to give him a shave. Fortunately, he'd forgotten the process that we were supposed to be doing. That's the first time that I ever shaved a face. It became a weekly ritual. Now, Dave and Bernice were not my only clients. There was also Loretta Fontaine. Loretta lived in her own in a small house in a Vancouver suburb with her evil cat, Mittens. Loretta had been widowed more than a decade before and had only one son who was just waiting for her to die to collect his inheritance. She'd been through cancer treatment and lost her sense of smell, which is why she was unaware of Mitten's unusual habit of peeing everywhere he fancied, which included more than once my jacket. I drag her laundry down the stairs, put the washing on, clean the spare bed, which is a favorite place for Mittens to pee on, vacuum, dust, tidy. One day, Loretta was in her kitchen when I arrived, a plastic wrap around her shoulders and a bottle of home permanent solution that had been purchased before I was born on the counter next to her. "Today," she said, "you can give me a perm." She was sitting there with her shiny pink scalp and her fluffy white hair all around it. The chemical bottles were crusted and the chemical inside was gloopy and disgustingly smelling. Loretta couldn't smell them, but I could. And there's no way that I was going to pour that expired chemicals onto that shiny head. But I couldn't let her down. She was obviously so trusting in my abilities. So I had to think quickly. I told her I'd be back in 10 minutes. I jumped in my truck and drove the short distance to a shop where I bought some hair mousse. And that day I learned how to wash hair in the kitchen sink and to trim it with nail scissors and to set it with mousse and curlers. The home perm kit was carefully discarded. Loretta was delighted, and she gave me a set of cocktail napkins for the first dance she'd attended in the 1920s. I don't know why either, but they were interesting. I loved Loretta, and though I hated her cat, I never let on. There were others. Ruby, who was in a coma for 15 years, being cared for by her daughter, Donna. Janice, who had no relatives but took great pride in her front flower beds. Eunice, who took care of her husband, James, who'd once been a sailor, but now mostly sat in a chair, staring out the window. She would talk about the ways that James used to talk about his days at sea. She spoke as though he'd be returning anytime soon, although he'd been housebound for years. Each house I entered was a door into an unfinished story. I was an extra pair of hands, the listener, the stand-in family member. I felt useful, indispensable even, but I was also stuck. every time I thought about leaving, about saying no, I imagined the undone laundry, the cat pee, the front flower bed overflowing. Who would do these things if not me? I was indispensable. And I was exhausted. I'd gotten so that I was working 7 days a week without a break and never said no if someone called me late at night or early in the morning. My boyfriend complained that he never got to see me. My friends stopped asking me to join them on days out. I was always busy. And then one evening, after a long day, I sat in my truck outside my house and stared at the steering wheel. I mean, I could keep working with these people until their natural lives ended, or I could retain my sanity and stop. But then what would they do? I couldn't face these elderly people imagining their disappointment in me, their helplessness. And I sat for a long time as the sun began to disappear over the horizon, feeling very sorry for myself. It took me a while, because I'm not that bright. But I finally saw that the truth was something very different. I wasn't trapped by their needs. I was trapped by my own illusion of importance. I've been thinking of them as helpless, mistaking their gratitude for dependence. And then I thought about who I was worrying about. I thought of all the things that they'd seen and done in their lives. These people had lived through one, some even 2 world wars. They'd been born into a world that's still largely traveled by horse and carriage and can now step onto an airplane and fly across the world in a day. They'd seen the invention of the television in their lifetime. They'd all dealt with loss and trauma in their personal lives, and they were resourceful and resilient and capable. My pity was arrogance. My fear was self-aggrandizement. I shook my head. Get over yourself. I'm not great at endings, but you don't get better at something by avoiding it. I renewed my passport. I enrolled in a 1-month Mandarin Chinese class. I sold my truck and used the money to buy a one-way ticket to China so I couldn't back out. I gave my notice, recommended a replacement, and 2 months later, I flew to Shanghai, completely unprepared, but ready for almost anything. I'm not great at endings, but beginnings. I could do beginnings. Thank you.
Rachel, I mean, you are amazing. I am so delighted that you kind of committed your life to personal stories, because your life experiences keep amaze me.
You know, we often say in Hong Kong Stories, we often say, you know, if you've ever done something stupid, you have lots of personal stories. And I have endless stories because I'm always doing stupid stuff.
Yeah, and your honesty and openness of conveying this, because this is all human experience. We all do stupid stuff, but some are much easier to confess this, some not. And I really love your attitude. Thank you.
Thank you.
So
I also
much,
have very
Rachel.
little personal shame.
Yeah, and that's really good for us. So, you know, we can enjoy your stories more. Fantastic, fantastic. Thank you so much. And yeah, give another Niharika, please.
I have one suggestion, like one quick one. Can I get Renu once more on the spotlight? I just want to take one screenshot, if that's okay.
Yes, sure.
Thank you. Just
Here you
hold on
are.
a quick second. Very good.
Can
Big
you take
smiles.
me out?
Together with you, big smiles. And that's it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Remind me who's next.
Eswaran is next. Are you ready, Eswaran? I can't see. Yes. Hello, welcome.
Hello, welcome. And this is a month of giving, receiving, taking gifts. So I thought I will share my personal story long back. Uh, the year was 1970 and the month was November. Was it 19th November or 15th November? I don't recollect. But it was a Sunday. And my father had just agreed to purchase me something which I long wanted. It was not a toy, it was a book. And that summer, I had a chance to see that book in my uncle's place, and I really wanted a copy of that. So he agreed to buy me that on that Sunday. We went to the shop. It was a princely sum of rupees 18 in the 1970s. We got it at 15, still a princely sum. And then I got it home. The book was High School Grammar and Composition by Renan Martin. I'm sure some of you have heard it. It's a classic grammar book for school students, written by two gentlemen for the British students in India long back. Of course, it has been absorbed by the Indian schools, convents, and otherwise. But I was very thrilled with that book. I really lapped up the book and I spent the Sunday evening and the Monday also looking at the book whenever I had time. I had indicated to my father that I will take it to my school because I wanted to show it off. He forbade me and said it is not going to be taken to school. So I didn't at that time, and I went through the book over the evenings of Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And in my school, the teacher had just talked about transferred epithets, and I really lapped up the section on that in the grammar book. And she was teaching us the a Thomas Hardy poem on elegy in the church. And she talked about the plowman plodded the weary way, and she explained how transferred epithet works in that. And I saw the same example in the book, and I was quite happy and thrilled. I also went through the other figures of speech and prided myself that now I know probably more than my classmates in the school. And then that Friday evening, Friday morning, I had somehow in my foolhardiness or whatever, I took the book to school. I showed it off to the people. I removed the brown cover which I had diligently put on the cloth-bound book, red crimson, and then I showed it off to them, showed the examples which the teacher had talked about, and feeling very great because I was showing them off something which they did not have. Come evening, 10 minutes before the school shut down and I had left for home, I somehow managed to forget to take the book. I left it at my place in the school table. Came home and then realized that I have not got the book. It was a tough time explaining to my mother that I have forgotten the book. There I lost it. She said, wait for your father to come and then we can see what can be done about it. And that was my longest day ever in my experience, trying to tell 5 minutes to my father as to why I lost it. So there were two humps I had to really carry. One, I didn't listen to him. And second was the Indian fear of karma. I not only took the book, but I showed it off to them, and someone had cast an evil eye or whatever it is, but karma made sure that I lost the book. And then he immediately said, let's go back to the school, convince the security there to open the classroom, went inside and checked my place of seating and figured out that the book is no longer there. Obviously, someone had taken it, and my little hope that it was still there had just vaporized. Well, I continued and lived without Renan Martin for the rest of my life practically, until it was 2000 when I chanced to buy the book just for memory's sake. It is still red in color, but not that cloth bound, a much, much thinner paper, not that, it's a sorry self of what it was before. And then I realized that it was far more emotionally traumatic to lose a book than to find that you have deleted one of your books, a PDF file in your Kindle. And thank goodness for Kindle, at least that is good for Kindle, but losing a book is really traumatic for me. And that is how I survived the René Martin. Thank you.
Thank you, Eswaran. Let's give a round of silent applause to Eswaran for sharing his book story. Yeah, like, the emotional connection to books. I can certainly relate to that. Thank you so much for sharing. And now, yeah, we have Stephanie. Are you ready, Stephanie?
Yep, I'm good to go.
Fantastic.
Sorry, I'm just figuring out which Stephanie to spotlight. I think this one. Have I spotlighted the right one?
Yes, I say
Okay.
so. Thank you, Niharika, for dealing all these technical things at the background. I really appreciate it. Stephanie, the floor is yours.
Thanks. And good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I'm coming to you today from Treaty 2 land near London, Ontario in Canada. It's May 2023. I'm shopping at White Oaks Mall in London, Ontario, looking for shoes for an upcoming storytelling event. I already have my outfit chosen. I try on a pair of black, strappy, high heel sandals. And when I stand up in them, I remember why I don't wear high heels. Because that is dangerous. I'm going to trip and fall and break myself. So I sit back down and take them off. And I look for flats. I'm not finding anything that goes with the outfit that I've chosen. And thinking that I have bought men's shoes secondhand before, I look for men's shoes because maybe that'll work. Not finding anything. Maybe boots will go well with the capris that I have chosen, but I don't find any boots in the women's department or the men's department. My feet ache, my head is pounding, and my heart races as I dart for the exit. Then, out of the corner of my eye, as if through a window into a different world, I spot Doc Martens. These are boots that I had wanted in high school about 1,000,000 years ago and had never gotten to have. So I think to myself, maybe this store has what I'm looking for. I go in and I ask, do you sell footwear that's not specifically for men and not specifically for women? Do you mean gender neutral? They ask. Yeah, I do. That's exactly what I mean. I just didn't have the words. And so my tired feet thank me when I take a seat. And I'm offered a pair of Converse sneakers. I like them. For this occasion, though, I need something more than just sneakers. Next, I look around at other shoes, Converse, Vans. I even look at the Doc Martens, but there's nothing that I like in my size. I'm ready to give up. I'm ready to head for that exit again. But the store staff member says, give me one more try. I have an idea. When they return and present me with a pair of black, high top, Chuck platform sneakers, oh, my deepest self wiggles and blinks and starts to wake up. One foot and then the other slide into the shoes. The laces almost tie themselves. Hands push off from the arms of the chair. My short legs stretch an impossible 1.5 inches longer, and my eyes scan a vista from impossible heights. confidence boosted, paradigm shifted, I sit back down and take off the shoes. I'd gone into that store hoping to buy new shoes, and I was leaving with a pair of new shoes in a box. My understanding of myself begins to crawl out gingerly from the box it has been in my whole life. I explored the binary that I had understood my gender to be for my whole life and realized that maybe I don't need the binary. Over time, I've come out to my husband, my sons, extended family, friends, and just this past June, I came out at work. It's about how I identify. Non-binary, genderqueer, transgender. It's about how I dress, chucks, bow ties and vests, earrings and hats. Oh, especially hats. The more unique, the better. It's about how I interact with the world and how I connect with other people. I don't feel like I have to hide this most integral part of who I am anymore. And it's about feeling even more unconditional love for my husband of more than 26 years. It's about how I introduce myself. My name is Stephanie Holt. My pronouns are they, them. And joy bubbles up when I say those pronouns. It's really nice to meet you all. Thank you for listening to my story.
Oh, thank you, Stephanie. A great round of applause for Stephanie for her sharing for their story. Sorry, I am so used to these pronouns. Although Turkish language doesn't have any gender pronouns, but you know, in English language it can. That's the usage. Sorry about that, but yeah, it's such a fantastic experience. I really felt you in that shop, and you know the revelation you got after it is really life transforming. Thank you very much for sharing that, and welcome to the community. I hope to have you more in our coming sessions. Now, Mike, are you ready?
I'm here and I've been listening all along. Yes, absolutely. Can everybody hear me? Wave if you can hear me. Fine, that's all right. Well, I'm going to tell you my story. I've got a feeling today after Renews and Iswarans and all the others we've had, and particularly that last one, Stephanie, the mine's maybe a little bit more lightweight, but we'll see how we get on. Okay. So I'm going back in my life now. I'm 70 years old and I was 16 years old in 1971. And I got an old motorbike. It cost me £25 and it meant freedom to me. It meant I didn't have to get a bus. It didn't have to ask my grandparents or my brother to go backwards and forwards. I could just go when I wanted to. And one evening I hopped on it for some reason. I can't remember the reason. And as I was going down a hill, over the hills, the engine stopped. Well, you're probably looking at the worst mechanic in the whole of Shropshire. You're probably looking at the worst mechanic in the whole of England, let alone anything else. I get it from my father, and my father, he was flying a Seafire, which are the warplanes off an aircraft carrier, and he couldn't land it on the air because the engine stopped, and he landed on the sea, and they hoyed him out, and they put him back on the aircraft carrier, and they said, "What happened, Rust?" And he went, "The propeller stopped going round." Well, this was the same with me. The engine stopped. But it was raining and I wasn't really equipped. I just hopped on to go round the corner. It was a couple of miles away. So I wheeled it down, and just at the bottom of this hill, there's a pub. Now, this pub in those days was the pavilion to the local golf club. Now it's a great big wedding venue or something. I went past it the other day. And I just threw the motorbike in the hedge and I went in. And I've never been, well, I have been wet, but I haven't been so wet and ill prepared in all my time. Everything was wet. All my underwear was wet. There was water coming off my ears and my nose, and I was getting cold and everything else. And I just went and sat by the fire and gently started steaming. And the landlady came out and she looked at me and she shook her head and went back. And 5 minutes later, she came back with a great big tray of coffee and a small little brandy. And she put it on the table. And I went, that's ever so kind of you, but I can't afford that. I haven't got the money to pay for that. And she said, don't worry about it. If you look through the gap here, the other side, you'll see a fella. His name's Charles. He's paid for that. And he says he'll pop you home when you, in about half an hour's time, just dry out in my pub, have a hot drink and take the whiskey. Well, you don't know how much it meant to me that day. I just sat down there. And when he came round, he said, where do you got to go to, son? So I told him where I lived, and he went, I'll pop you down. The landlady says we can leave the bike there till tomorrow and I'll get someone to pick it up for you. And we went round to his motor car. Now, his motor car was a brand new Jaguar. He was quite a rich man. He owned a factory and it had white leather seats in the front of it. And I looked at these white leather seats and he said, just hop in. The reason you have leather seats is because you can just wipe any dirt off them straight away. Don't worry. And he took me home. And in that journey, I said these words. I don't know how to say thank you to you. And he said, you're not saying thank you to me. And this is what he said. Because when he was 16, 17 years old, his dad said, if you're going to come and join our factory, you can do the night shifts on the weekends. It was just at the end of the war. And 6 o'clock on a Sunday morning, he was going off to work and his motorbike had broken down and someone had picked him up. It was an old boy had a bit of a flatbed truck in those days. And he put him on the back of the truck. He took him round to the factory. He made sure he was all right. And in that journey, Charles told me this. He said, I don't know how to thank you today. And the driver of that truck back in 1946 said, you're not thanking me because one day, a few years ago, the same thing happened to me. I was back in the 1920s and he told a little story. So just as I got to home, Charles turned round and said, it's a debt I've kept and now I've repaid it. You'll be all right. And I hopped out the car. When I got home from school that evening, the motorbike was there, someone had fixed it, and there was a full tank of fuel in it. Now that's how generous that guy gets. You don't know how much a full tank of fuel cost in them days and how important it was. It was freedom. Anyway, I asked Dad if he knew who he was, and I went back and they just said, yeah, we thought you'd turn up. Don't worry about it. He's rich enough. Don't you worry. Anyway, rolling forward about 30 odd years, I too had my own company and I had a pickup truck. And I was going along the hills here and I came round the corner and there was a 16-year-old boy sat by the side of the road with a broken motorbike. It was in the evening, it was about 6 o'clock in the evening. And I was wanting to get home for something to eat. I'd been working hard all day and I stopped. We put his bike in the back of my pickup and I took him round to his house. I knew the family, I knew where they lived, and I know his grandfather quite well. And he said these words to me. He said, I don't know how to say thank you to you for doing this. I don't know what I was going to do. I said, well, you got a mobile phone and that? And yeah, he said, but I know Mum and Dad aren't there. And I was just trying to work out what to do, but thank you so much. I said, don't worry. And his name was Dan. Don't worry, Dan. And I told him what Charles had said to me and going backwards. Well, didn't think much about it. His mum came along, she met me in the street back in Wenlock and said, thank you. And I said, don't worry about it. You'd have done the same for my son. And she said, I would if I'd seen your Jake. Anyways, he went and lived in Spain. About 15, 20 odd years later, a postcard came. And it was from this little city down by Gibraltar. And Dan is an artist. He makes his way by decorating people's inside of their holiday flats and things like that. And he paints very nice fine art. He does it in watercolors, sceneries and stuff like that. And on this card was my full name and address and everything and the stamp. And there was a picture. And on the picture was a little boy next to a broken down motorbike. And it just said, I paid my debt. Thank you.
Oh, thank you, Mike, for this heartwarming story. Like it is, I mean, I am listening it to the second time, but yeah, enjoying it more better each time. It's so, it is, it's like a chain of gratitude that keeps going, story within the story. I love how you are bringing it, conveying it. Thank you so much. Yeah,
No, it's a
a
pleasure.
chain
Thank you
of
very
paying
much.
it forward, said Stephanie. Yeah, I
Absolutely.
certainly agree. And yeah, it warms my heart that thinking that there are men out that they will continue to do this.
Well, one likes to think so, but yeah, I can remember when I started thinking about doing these personal stories, and I remembered all that. I can just remember how grateful I was that day. You will never
Yeah.
know how grateful you were when you're 16 and you're just by yourself and all the rest of it. So yeah,
Yes. Thank you, Mike.
absolutely.
Thank you so much. Now we came to the end of our stories, but because we didn't have Santosh, if Baba C has a short story, I believe we have time for it. Do we?
Sinam, can you just give him the definition of short? Right. Short for Babasi is less than an hour. Okay.
Yes, Mike, you are so right. 5 minutes, then.
My story is so short that Baden would be above it. But anyhow, and Baden and I have this banter back and forth, but I love him like the brother I never wanted. I mean, I love him like a brother. But anyhow, my short story is 2 quickies folded in one. And in listening to other people tell their stories, I just realized that my story takes place in the summer of 1970, shortly after I graduated from high school. And it was my first summer job, and I was a residential counselor at a summer camp. Now, I'm a city kid. My idea of camping is staying in a motel or hotel. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. So I'm this counselor, and I have these kids who are really city kids. And we are walking down the path back toward our bunkhouse. And we had been told, stay away from the snakes, don't go off the path, etc., etc. So the snake slithers across the path, and I have the kids stop. But this one little blonde kid sees the snake and grabs him. Now I'm trying to tell everybody to stay cool. They're city kids. And he says, no. And we've been told that snakes in the area, some of them were venomous or poisonous. He says, nah, this is just a little garden snake. We have these in our backyard at home. So I said, okay, well, put him down because we're in his home. Let him go on. So he did. All right. So now we're sitting later on, we're sitting on the porch of my bunkhouse with my guys. Remember, they're city kids. And these bees come out of nowhere. And they start buzzing around. And the city kids are like, ah! I said, stop, don't do that. Stay still. And they're like, ah! And I point at the bees and I point away. Believe it or not, the bees flew in the opposite direction. And the kids are looking at me like, and mentally I'm going, but it's all right. So off and on, sometimes the bee would start circling around a city kid, and I'd point at the bee and point that way, and the bees would leave. Now this is a true story. To this day, if a friend of mine is panicking because of a bee flying near him or her, I just point at the bee and point away, and 9 times out of 10, the bee goes away. And the lesson in this story is that sometimes it just bees that way. That's it.
Oh, thank you so much. Oh, that was a great finish to our story swap. Thank you, Baba C. So
My
the bee
pleasure.
whisperer is, yes, I agree. You are the bee whisperer that you can control the bees. Go there and go there. Oh, thank you everyone for sharing your your heartwarming life experiences with us. And if you would like to hang on, we can stop the recording and have a chat a little bit. We will have the next session in January 24th, and I will send you to the WhatsApp group the forms for signing up for the stories. Yeah, and do I have any announcements? Yeah, is there anyone who would like to make announcements for the upcoming World Storytelling Cafe events?
Yeah, I've got a
Mike?
story round. I do one every other Sunday. So my next one is on Sunday the 21st. It's 6 o'clock UK time. If you want to come do personal stories, if you want to do the same stories you told just now, but in a different forum, you're very welcome to come. Baba and Baden, I have to sort of stand in the middle. I put one in the blue corner and one in the red corner, so I just get away.
I'm in the blue corner.
It's a love-hate
I always intend to
relationship,
come.
Thank you, Mike.
I always
Such a-
intend to come, but it's the wrong time for our, our
Yeah.
time zone.
Cannot make it.
Yes,
Yeah.
it doesn't work for the future.
It's hard in the future to make it. But when I
Mike,
move to
come Hong
Canada
Kong.
next year,
Avita
I'm not-
patiently has her hand up, but I want to get in real quick. On the 26th, Stories for Children, I will be telling a Kwanzaa tale. So I invite everybody to tune in on the 26th, Stories for Children. That's on a Friday. And I'm going to tell Kwanzaa tales. And I guarantee you'll have a good time. But if you're not careful, you might learn something new.
Thank you, Babasi. And Evita also wanted to share an announcement. Hello, Evita.
Yes, another announcement, like I'm following Baden with some good news. I am very lucky to have been invited to be the resident storyteller at the Storytelling Cafe in Marrakesh in January until end of February. Some of those faces, I know, and some of the people in here might actually come and visit. Mike is definitely coming, and Baden, I think, as well. So a warm invitation. If you miss Marrakesh as much as I do, come along and we can do something together.
Oh,
So
thank
the
you,
world
Evita. Thank
fantastic.
you.
Well done.
Would you please
Thank
write
you.
this to the also WhatsApp group? The
Yes, I
dates
will.
when you will be there, and also
Mhm.
Stephanie was asking for the link, Mike. Maybe you can also put it on the WhatsApp group or here in the chat now.
Evita, if I can find a bus that will take me there, I'll be there.
I thought you were
What
just
about a
gonna-
boat?
Baden, I thought you were just going to walk over again.
No, I'll fly like I normally do.
Okay.
If you don't get the link from Mike right away, Stephanie, I'll make sure that you get it. Okay, it always comes through somewhere. It's
Yes,
awesome.
Yeah.
I mean, it will be. I mean, we can forward in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And thank you for everybody. Thank you, Senem, for doing this because I know this is your first time hosting. And thank you. And
Well
really
done,
appreciate
Senem.
you taking it over for the
Good job.
day
Good
so
job.
that it's not all falling on Niharika's shoulders.
Yes, I
Well
mean, I
done.
really would like to thank to Niharika for starting this up, and we keep continuing, and
Beautiful.
our community is growing. It's fantastic to hear these stories here
Yeah.
together. Yeah, thank you very much.
Lovely.
And
Yeah,
thank you. I
lovely.
really enjoyed our workshop.
Oh,
I really
yeah.
enjoyed our workshop. I thought that was really awesome.
Yeah, we should
So
keep
thank
this
you for that.
format going.
Mhm.
Yes.
It's really nice.
Yeah. In January, we will have the workshop all together. And I think when we are together, it is better that we contribute collectively. So it really makes a difference in the stories.
Mhm.
Yes.
Do you have a theme for January yet?
I mean, I thought it could be the sea. I don't know why. Just because I am maybe
Sounds
I'm
great.
so longing for the experiences at the sea, with the sea, around the sea.
Can we just make it bodies of water instead of the sea?
Yes, I
Just
would
because
say bodies of-
Stephanie and I have grown up next to an inland lake. It's like an inland sea, but it's fresh water. It's
Okay,
enormous.
let bodies of water then. Probably that will be the January topic.
Okay.
Yeah, well done, Rachel. If it's got tides and it's got waves, I don't understand it. So we do rivers and lakes. That's where I live.
Our lakes have tides, I'm afraid.
Oh, well.
They're really, really big.
You've got too much space, you lot.
Yeah, there really is a lot. We've got 5 of them that are that big. So
Okay,
In
shall
Washington, D.C., we have 2
shall we
rivers.
stop recording and then continue to chat? So, is there any
let's-
other thing that
let's-
you would like
I
to
thought the
say?
recording was already stopped.
Oh, really? No, it is not.
Let's
I
thank
have just-
Waleed.
Now,
Let's
I
thank
stopped it.
Waleed for flying the magic carpet. So
Thanks,
thank you,
Waleed.
Thank you, Waleed.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
You're very
Waleed.
appreciated.
thank you, Ollie.
Right. So I'm going to have
Mike's-
to go because I've got a granddaughter staying with me, so I'm going to have to go. So I'm thoroughly enjoyed
Mike,
it.
can I ask you before you go, Mike, is it the same link as you usually send around to the WhatsApp group for
Yes.
your storytelling? Okay, I'll just go find that now and hand it up in the group.
Yeah. Okay.
Enjoy. Don't fall
All
off any
right, take
horses.
care.
Enjoy.
I have a story about that too. But anyhow, yes. So
All
I'm
my
gonna
stories
get
of
ready to
horses are
wake up.
falling off.
Thank you for a brilliant hour, folks. I'm gonna have to go and do some
I
domestics.
think we can
but
wrap
yeah.
up now.
Thank
for a
you,
great
Baden.
time.
Everyone,
Thank
bye.
you.
Have a
Baden,
lovely,
it's always
lovely
good
year-end
seeing
time.
you, despite what we say to each other.
Yeah, it's always good saying goodbye to
Congratulations,
you,
Evita.
Babasi.
Congratulations, Evita. Have a
Yes.
good time.
Congratulations, Baden.
I'll be
Right,
envying you from Hong
congratulations.
Kong.
See you all soon. Have a good break.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Well, I'm gonna wake up soon.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Have you had your coffee, Babasi?
I did have a cup of coffee and it was good. I started drinking up my sister. Let me rephrase that. My sister is a coffee whisperer and she always sends me the right coffee. And I usually drink dark roast, but lately I've been drinking a lighter roast. And I found out that the lighter the roast, the more the caffeine. So I had a big mug of lighter roast coffee and I think it's going to keep me awake long enough to go to sleep.
Okay, okay, cool. I was wondering to ask some questions to Esran and Renu, but they already gone. It's okay. It is.
And thank you for allowing me to share a story.
Oh, it's a pleasure. It was a lovely ending with the bees and snakes.
But I mean,
You
come
talk
on,
about the
Babasi.
city kids and the country kids. That was me. I was the kid who was like catching snakes and going, no, it's fine. I know about these ones.
I need to do a,
Totally
I
fine.
need to, it's like I need to experience it. Fact or fiction. I loved it.
You wouldn't be happy if somebody caught a snake next to you, would you? Oh no, it's your husband that wouldn't be happy.
Now, see,
I
my only
want to see the
concern.
bees following the direction of Babasi's pointing.
Do you know what? We had an exhibition a couple of years ago now in an abandoned school, and we ended up having one of the rooms, because there's no windows or anything. It's just an abandoned school. And one of the rooms actually ended up with a swarm of bees just hanging out there in the corner all day. Never going to have an
Whoa.
experience like that again. It was awesome. I didn't point at them. I just left them alone.
That was probably a wise thing to do.
Yeah.
You had to beehive yourself. See, that's the thing. Yeah. But when I was
Not that
younger,
brave.
in Washington, D.C., depending on the weather, because, they call this a swamp, but it's not, except for politically. But there used to be a lot of gnats, and I could walk through the big things of gnats. They wouldn't bother me, but they'd be bothering everybody else. Now, as lucky as I am with the insects, there's one that I'm not immune to. If you're with me, during the summer, everyone gets bit by mosquitoes. I don't get bit until September. And if you're walking with me, you won't get bit because they're all eating me. I guess they're
No,
getting
my
the things
superpower.
for the bees. Yeah.
My superpower is that I'm not allergic to mosquitoes, so they don't even bite me. And when they do, I don't even swell up.
Wow.
Better than being able to fly. My husband, on the other hand, is the exact opposite and is allergic to every mosquito he's ever met and like swells up and gets blisters and things like that. So
Definitely was
Anyway,
lovely to meet you. I've heard so much about you from Rachel, and for the first time, seeing you and hearing your story was so heartwarming. Can't wait to hear more.
she's
What time
awesome.
is in
They're
there
awesome.
at the moment, Stephanie? It's early, isn't it?
8:30? It should be 8:30. They're 13
Yeah.
hours behind Hong Kong right now. That's the only
It's
thing that's
8:30
really good
a.m.
about it
here.
is, yeah. Yeah, you're about the same time, yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm
Okay.
still looking for Mike Rust's link.
I can also send it, Rachel. I'll send it. It's on
Do
World
you have it?
Storytelling Cafe. It's on just on the World Storytelling Cafe website.
Right.
Okay, I'm gonna go as well. It was
Okay.
so fun. Thank you so much,
Thank you,
Sanam.
Sanam.
And
Yeah.
Thank you,
thank you,
Stephanie.
Niharika, for
Fun.
doing the background, for setting the
Happy
scene.
to.
Isn't it nice being able to just kind of like not pay attention at all to that part?
That's the best part. Like, it's just I'm enjoying the stories and making comments. Like, the what and host once more. Thank you. And
Absolutely.
Welcome to my world.
I will be there for you, Niharika, in the next coming sessions.
I'm just going to
Yay.
say that this session made it worth me waking up early this morning, and I'm
Oh.
glad that I did.
Awesome.
Yes,
We're glad that you're
also
here,
Babasi.
Babasi.
Thank
It's
you.
good to see you.
Thank
you. And likewise,
Bye-bye,
it's
everyone.
mutual.
Okay.
Everyone take
Okay.
care.
Take
Bye-bye.
care,
Watch out for the
guys.
bees.
Bye.
And remember the sea.
Yes, the bees and the sea.
Oh, someone just
Stephanie
coming
came
in.
again. Stephanie
Oh,
came
that was
again.
Stephanie. I think she got blipped out. She's coming back in.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Cool.
It's just, yeah.
Okay
But
then.
by the time she gets here, we'll be gone. Unfortunately, for
Yes.
her. Take care. You're
Take care,
lovely people.
Babasi.
I
Bye-bye.
shall. Take care. Until the next time.
Till the next time. Bye.
All right. All right, Waleed. I know you're waiting for me to say it. See out. One day we're going to have to explain that.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Odit. Thank you.